This afternoon, Ghana Immigration Service cautions applicants against provision of falsified documents as the service commences screening of thousands of candidates nationwide. Also coming up, Minister for Roads and Highways discloses that government has awarded 50 billion cedis worth of road contracts since assuming office a year ago. Plus, no significant improvements yet as the GPRTU and government works to resolve the month-long transport crisis. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Stay with us. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to News Central. We're live here in our studios at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. My name is Judith Brown. Let's do the bulletin now. Well, in our first story, Minority Leader Alexander Penyomarking has predicted that the National Democratic Congress is likely to have a messy flag-bearer race because leading figures are already crisscrossing the country in campaign tours. He says unfolding issues could cause a massive shakeup in the NDC and leave cracks. Well, Penyomarking wants the NDC to focus on what lies ahead of them and stop commentaries on the MPP's January 31 primary.
The NDC is busy talking about us. What they've also forgotten is that they also have a leadership contest awaiting them. And do also obi fieshe. Omo de npo de kankan kra. Sezi a obe hu no ase edun katia ose oko thank you to. Meanwhile no o campaign. They are hu ni say aisa aban on your own preferred candidate. Jubilee House before, I'm so more candidate. Or be a flag bearer momo. Na party no so one candidate. Inti enche be bedu omoso. But the IPC can say MPP there. Nyame ya aduma after 31st. Ya ye war parliament. Ya real tasu se kwen biad so no. Ya de baku ye enka bom ebe tai ni obe wini nechi. Na ye nyina ya boa. Emma party na akone kan inti no NDC for mundwe omo no mudi omo fi asem ya nhwe kra na ebia by mid this year omampeyi mahama eba be lame duck president because obia pay to me wo hwe omo a vice president also onu so be di president and then I'm saying yet say onu afa haruna idrusa ya no running mate yet ya ne say Chief of Staff Julius Debra onoso namne kwan onoso be president edi onoso ose ne running mate any fifi kwete yete ye majority leader onoso onamne baby onene ablakwa omoso yo mo permutation yenua finance minister ononso omose obedi president ononso prepare no running mate inti adia no atasa wo bebia yenua erikopoku ono agric minister one kaza wo ministry okra no sika ezezo omodi mawo na wodi ye kwadwuma kro mo fama wo so be di president ono openi erikopoku we hu the difference between opposition and government. Our opposition and kati brofwa kasia and obedi minister sika de beye adwuma krampo no aya asema ma no ono so so obedi president NDC for there no ebe huhu nti omundi omufi asem na omunja ye de mayen.
Well, you heard the Minority Leader Penyomarking. Well, let's speak to the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Rashid Tanko Computer. He's joining us with more details on this. Mr. Computer, now you heard the Minority Leader Penyomarking. He says that your party is soon to have a messy flag bearer race because your candidates, some candidates are already crisscrossing the country in campaign tours. What's your take on this?
Very well. Let me say good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers across the globe. Now, let me put it on record. We are not going to fall in the trap of the minority leader and his group. They cannot call the shot for the NDC. The NDC, as a corporate entity, as a political party, has gone through this process since 1992. We had flawless processes, in fact, very smooth process of getting our leaders to lead the party. We've never had any rancor presidential race in our party, and we don't expect to have that anytime soon. We have an internal mechanism of electing our presidential candidate, and those mechanisms have saved us well from 92 up to now. And then so we are not going to sing from the hymn book of the MPP and what my worthy brother, Honorable Afenyo-Markin, is prescribing for the NDC. We are not singing the same song like them. They have their bigger problem, and they must face it, and everybody has seen that their party is going down the drain, and they have decided to adopt this mechanism that has led them to where they are. That is their cup of tea. But I can assure you, the NDC will have a very smooth process when it comes to this matter. We haven't gotten there at all, and so we are not going to follow him, or we will decline the invitation that he's inviting us into.
But can you verify, basically, whether or not these members of your party are really conducting campaign tours as the minority leader has said it? Especially the national chairman. You had him going on a thank you tour. Is it really a campaign tour?
Dear, I am the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. The instrument or the writ for election has not been given to me to conduct any election or any primaries. And so therefore, anybody thinking of that nature is daydreaming. The NDC has a structure, and the structure is from Congress to National Executive Committee to Functional Executive Committee. The decision will be taken at the National Executive Committee, and then they will direct the election directorate to conduct primaries. As of now, there's nothing like that on the table. People are doing their work. The national chairman is executing his work as a chairman of the party. Don't forget, he campaigned vigorously across the country in those constituencies and regions that he's visiting. Of course, if you have done this job and the people have listened to you and voted massively for the NDC, is it not important for him to go and thank them? So if he's thanking them, what is the problem? So he shouldn't thank them. It's just like MPP. So they want us to fall in their trap. The other ministers, don't forget, they are ministers of state. And they are executing their work as ministers of state. They are not armchair ministers. They don't sit in their offices to execute the agenda that we are prosecuting in the country. And then so these people are doing their work. Don't sit down and then think for them that this is what they are doing. Right. And that is why I'm saying that Afenyo-Markin, Honorable Afenyo-Markin, the minority leader, and his group should not think for the NDC. And indeed, we are not going to follow them into their trap.
Now, Mr.
The
Computer,
NDC has this process.
One of the concerns of the minority now has been the frequent visits by the Vice President to various ministries. If you could tell us really the purpose of these visits as at this time.
Very important. Very, very important. Those days, ministers were being invited to the Flagstar House to come and brief the president or the vice president about what is going on in their ministries. Are you getting it? Now, this is a new novelty. The presidency is now moved to the ministry to come and then listen to them at the ministry. Don't forget, the ministry will be sitting with its agents. In my ministry, she came with her team, and all of us were invited, agencies under the ministry, to brief her what we have done so far and what we intend doing again, so that they will have fair understanding of what we are doing. So when they are at the big house, they will understand what the ministry is doing. Not like others. They will sit like King Nebuchadnezzar. You remember what was going on at the Flagstar House during somebody regime, Nana Akufo-Addo, where they were just calling people to the Flagstar House and they were misbehaving and getting away with that. This time, we have made governance so easy and brought governance to the doorstep of the people. That is why they are moving from the big house. The president himself is moving from agencies to another places, from regions to constituencies, while the vice president is also visiting the ministries to have first-hand information of what is going on there. Don't forget, the vice president has been a minister before. She was one of the best education ministers at her time, when she was the education minister then. So she understands the working of these ministries, and that is why she's moving in there to have this fair understanding of it. Benjamin Marking and his group, they don't understand these things. And let me tell you, Ghanaians are satisfied with what we are doing, the performance of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his government. And that is what is worrying them.
Now, when will prospective candidates be allowed to publicly declare their intent based on what's happening now?
I said, as we speak now, we are much interested in implementing our manifesto pledge. We haven't gotten where they are sending us. That is not on the table at all.
Then if you could share your electoral calendar with us.
Our electoral calendar came out in fact, we had a National Executive Committee meeting last month, and we adopted our electoral calendar. As we speak now, we have opened registration of party members at the branches, all the branches, over 38,000. People can go and register. Then around April, going to June, we are going to do what we call constituency election. In fact, we start with the branch election first, which is coming about 2 months' time. After we are done with the branch elections, we will do constituency conferences to elect our executives at the constituencies. Then, around July, August, September, thereabout, we will do regional elections. Regional executives will be elected. You know, we have 16 regions. We are going to conduct regional elections. From there, then we move to December to conduct National Executive Committee elections, where we have Congress. All delegates will come across the country to come and elect our national officers. Then the elected national executives will now go to meeting, known as the National Executive Committee meeting, to come out with guidelines as to how to elect our parliamentary candidates and our presidential candidates. It's a long haul. We haven't even gotten there. So nobody should be worrying our ears with this kind of stories. They are just creating an agenda. The NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we are implementing our manifesto promises. They cannot distract us. We are focused. And then they look, the reset agenda is working. Ghanaians are satisfied. They're enjoying it. That's what is worrying them. They know their problem is 31st. And we are all watching to see how they will demolish their party come Saturday. Everybody is watching them. That is their cup of tea. Let them concentrate on that.
Well, many thanks for your time, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is the Deputy Director for Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress. He has been giving us all the details as regards to the electoral or elections calendar for the party and many other things concerning some of the concerns of the minority. Let's do some transport stories now. And transport this afternoon, a tour of some busy transport corridors indicates that long queues still exist, with hundreds of people braving the scorching sun as of 9:30 a.m., hours past the official time to start work. After weeks of major inspections by the Vice President and series of engagements between ministers and transport operators, no significant improvement is seen. However, some stations have hundreds of vehicles parked, but drivers blame heavy traffic congestions and spare part costs for the long queues. Christian Yali sent us this update.
See, my time tells me that it is about 9:22 a.m. This is Madina Zongo Junction, and you see a lot of queues around. It is interesting to note that although this is not early morning, this is not a rush hour like you would say, like how it happens around 6:30 to 7 a.m. This is 9 a.m., almost 10 a.m. And you still come to meet a lot of queues along this side. Let me show you. When you look here, there are more queues here when you look at this side of the road. For some of them, they are moving to Accra, some are going to Osu, some are going to La Paz and other areas. That is how serious it is. But let me speak to this gentleman, because I realize that this is a very long queue and all these persons are moving all the way to Accra. How long have you been in this queue?
I've been here about 45 minutes.
About 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that, and you're going to work?
I'm going to work, and even if I'm able to get car now, I'm still going to join traffic again. So it's something I don't know how to put it, because it's very bad. It's very bad. And the baddest part is like, when they are loading, they will tell you they are going to Accra Street. Someone needs to be dropped at Okponglo Legon. They will say, no, Okponglo Legon. So how can you go? How can you move to work? You know, which is very bad. And they like to charge you the same fare, you know, which is bad. So they need to help us because it's getting worse all the time. So that's the situation now.
So the worry, and which is very striking to me, is that you've been here for about 45 minutes, and even when you get a vehicle, you're going to be stuck in traffic for about 30 or even an hour. How productive are you when you get to work?
Oh, you can't do nothing, you know. The time is already gone. And second, you have to do extra work. And sometimes if you are not lucky, you'll be sacked because no one is waiting for you to come and, you know, you are working as someone, you need to be on time. And even sometimes you come here early in the morning, the same thing. You come early, so you have to move from us like maybe 3 hours before, you know. So you need your sleep too.
And to think of it that many of whom are going to work. And you see right over there, there is a health worker who is an essential worker. There is a health worker there who is equally stuck in this traffic and has to wait. So you can imagine. Medina main station, when you get here, realize that there are a lot of cars that are parked here that are moving. However, you see quite some short queues over there. Some are going to the UPSA, some are going to estate and other areas, but it moves. You realize that from time to time, some taxis arrive to pick them.
Last week of the month, it's a week I almost say, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, queues beba. I'm about to make the line move 50 and up.
But me who say cars be bro, hante then a due time be a cars need to be shorty.
Hey, cars in the cars also, but I'm up on so to crime. I'm up on a bit of traffic and so to me cause because I can't go the traffic more. Not line a baby I say.
And so when you talk to the drivers, some are saying that the traffic congestion is to blame for the long queues we see at the terminals, also because the cars do not get to move rapidly as they should. And so you'd always get to see people standing here like this. And another thing is that people who would have otherwise parked their private cars to come to join Trotros are now driving, also because the fuel prices have dropped. So that is another situation. And yet again, they would want to attribute it to a lot of cars that are parked at the mechanic shops because of the cost of spare parts. I didn't know more ambijina kwa hono. Amonko station because station cars baby o.
Say obia on the destinations. Station no remo obia o baby oko. You know, on to me case oko stations cars go on na nipa nkofro. Obia o baby oko. Hanom kaswa, your kaswa, your sprinters, your tema. But the traffic will chroma anytime over be over nipa okwan.
Yes, so I'm not a driver of this vehicle and I don't intend to move it to the destination. This vehicle is moving all the way to Agbogba and Ashoma and adjoining areas. But you realize that at the La Paz station, there are a lot of vehicles here and the usual queues that you would come to meet early mornings at the rush hour are not here as of now. But still, the conversation for many of these drivers has been about how much they pay into servicing these vehicles. And so, by large and far, my understanding is that there were queues earlier because I had to tour other places before I got here, which goes back to the same story that we've still not been able to see any significant improvement when it comes to how many people have to, endure the pain of standing hours before they get vehicles to move to their various destinations. Christian Yale, TV3 News, La Paz.
Let's do some more stories now. The Minister for Energy, John Jinapon, says the consumption of electricity has increased due to improvement of the economy. He says his outfit is therefore embarking on innovative measures to avoid a deficit of 290 to 420 this year. The sector minister was speaking when the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, paid a working visit to the ministry.
And so we are installing 23,500 solar street lights so that in the night, that will not become a burden again. And by working with the finance minister, in 2025 alone, we paid $1.4 billion of energy sector related debt. In the cash waterfall, 2024, only $6 billion was declared in the cash waterfall. Through the reforms we took, in 2025, we declared $15 billion. Today, some of the IPPs are receiving 100% of their invoices. Hitherto, they used to receive 38%. Hydro is reducing and reducing. And as you can see, hydro is now just about 28%, meaning that thermal power is increasing. And as thermal power increases, it puts a huge demand. Because unlike hydro, thermal power, you need to consume fuel, either gas or any other alternate fuel. And so we must be proactive. And so this year, we're going to procure some additional power. Because if you look at the next slide, you realize that 2026, if nothing is done, we're going to have a deficit of 294. 2027, 658. 2028, 1,470. Because of the way the economy is picking up, there's a lot of increased consumption when it comes to electricity. And so we must match that pace. And to do so, we must be very innovative. So we are coming up with either competitive tendering, or we use VRA as a front so that we can have cheaper power for the people of Ghana.
In other words, we are in this together. I remember when the results had been declared and we quickly went into all kinds of meetings. And I remember all the pressures, especially when we were learning the real situation that we had inherited and what needed to be done. And poor minister was penciled in to take part in solving the problems. And Mr. Minister and your directors, you've done very well. You've made all of us proud. The interventions have really created the enabling results we're looking for. We had huge debts. We were threatened with power cuts even before we took over. And it wasn't an amusing situation at all. So all the suggestions that came, the strategies that came, and this is a time for us to commend our president.
Now, the Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, Samuel Basintali Amadou, has cautioned applicants against falsifying their ages as the service today began screening candidates nationwide, adding that those who pass the verification and physical checks will move on to a new computer-based examination system being introduced for the first time in the recruitment process to eliminate human interference.
I think the only challenge is most of them, I believe, are trying to change their dates of birth for obvious reasons. So they are coming with the date on their Ghana card is different from the new birth certificates they have gone for. So they are trying, some of them have affidavit to back it or whatever. But you see, let me give them a general advice. If you are 40 and you lie that you are 30, when you get to the field, you are likely to even die because you are subjected to a certain level of fitness. And once the age is not on your side, you will not make it. So you fall off and then off you go. So they shouldn't think that when you reduce your age, you will get through. You will be found out at some point. The next step is the exams. And they'll be doing it computer-based. The exams will be computer-based. The same system. So it is programmed such that as soon as you finish, you get your results. So it's the Hausa man who say Gafili Gadochi. Now I know Kululu. Yes, this is the first time we are going that way. The Iman face is out. The exams is set and it's programmed. So when you take your eye off the screen for 10 seconds, it will shut you off. So if you think that you are doing it at the comfort of your home, you can cheat. Forget it.
Now, many aspiring recruits have praised the Immigration Service for implementing significant reforms in this year's recruitment exercise, calling it stress-free compared to the previous years. Approximately 6,000 applicants are expected to be processed over the scheduled 3 days in the Western region. Rama Smith has more.
This year's immigration intake at the Western Regional Command is characterized by orderliness and a calm atmosphere as the officials work to process an estimated 6,994 applicants over 3 days. The streamlined process commenced early on Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. with graduate recruitment, attracting a significant number of young candidates. According to the Western Regional Communications Officer for the Immigration Command, Moses Akapo, the exercise has been deliberately organized to prevent overcrowding and excessive waiting times.
In Western Region, we are expected to attend to about 6,994 applicants. And as you can see, the process is moving on smoothly without any incidents. The applicants are very comfortable and going through the process very smoothly. As you can see, the orderliness of the whole exercise tells that a lot of work has been done, right from the ministry level to the directorate and management down to the region, so that we can have a very smooth exercise. The process is expected to run for 3 days, beginning today, tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and Thursday.
The process commences with a straightforward initial stage, after which applicants advance through sequential steps including documentation, verification, height and physical checks, and a computational assessment. The applicants have responded positively to the streamlined system, describing it as stress-free compared to earlier recruitment exercises.
Actually, this is my second time of applying. The first time it was something else, but this year I think that there has been a great changes. There's been great reforms in the immigration service. And then as regards to the arrangement, the movement, and even the sharing of the snack.
The officers were friendly. I heard of a stampede recently, so I was thinking the same would happen through the process, but God all being good, everything was smooth.
The people were so kind, were so good to us. They even gave us chairs to sit, unlike previous years, and they were really, really lenient with us. Yes.
The officers are very calm to take you through the process. It's automatically stress-free.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Takrady.
Now, residents of Waliwali in the Northeast region say they live in constant fear of military brutalities in the area. The residents, while condemning an assault on Media General's regional correspondent Solomon Kwame Kanalue, called on the defense minister to ensure that the military officers who assaulted the journalists and residents are identified and punished accordingly. Solomon Kwame was assaulted by a military operations team in Waliwali while on official duty in town. Member of Parliament for Waliwali, Dr. Kabiru Tia, has since condemned the incident in a statement. Meanwhile, police have commenced investigation into the matter. Well, let's go to Waliwali now and engage my colleague Christopher Mwako, who's joining us with more details on this. Chris, good afternoon to you. Now, how concerned are residents regarding this incident?
Kemini, we all know that this is not the first time we're hearing that military has stormed the Waliwali community and, as it were, assaulted residents. Yesterday's incident is one of many of such incidents. Now, what residents are concerned about regarding yesterday's incident has to be that there is nothing happening in the Waliwali community. They were just there, then the police and the military, numbering over 40, stormed the principal streets and started chasing people away. As we speak, vehicles at the Tamale station, most of them have been destroyed. Their ties have been destroyed because, according to the military, they were wrongly parked on the way. Unfortunately, yesterday, our staff, Solomon Kwame, was one of the victims of this incident. He came to town on official duty on his motorbike. He was stopped and assaulted. Some of the residents actually have expressed disgust over this particular incident that happened yesterday. I have some of them here I'll be engaging. Now, the incident that happened yesterday, as a resident, how concerned are you and you think that you were harassed by the military?
Exactly. I think it was uncalled for, and it must be condemned in all uncertainty. Because, as you rightly said, the community is so calm. Even though there are some disturbances in other parts of the Upper East, but the Walwale community has been relatively calm. The stakeholders in the community are doing everything possible to ensure that the youth are engaged. They don't do anything that will cause panic, and they don't do anything that will cause confusion. And so yesterday we were so amazed seeing the military coming into town and doing the kind of things they did. The vehicles that they spoiled, those are livelihood of people. That is why families depend on. Today, those vehicles are parked there, the drivers are not working, and the owners are also suffering. So for us, we think it is important that the defense ministry, whoever is in charge of the command, investigate to let us know the perpetrators of this, canker. It is putting, the community in a state of panic. And that shouldn't be the situation. Yesterday also was a bad day because yesterday was the day we all knew that the Ghana-Jamaica case was being heard at the High Court. And so for such a sensitive day, for the ability to step in and to have done such an activity was to kind of create a kind of confusion and to put to anger the youth so that they will riot and then kind of maybe the community will put into a camp. And that is what the people have been trying to do. The stakeholders have been engaging people, trying to ensure that they act properly so that the community is calm and curfew is not imposed on us. So if all these things are observed, yet military come into the community and abuse people, it's not proper. We are in the 21st century. We are in a democratic dispensation. And for that matter, security agencies must act professionally.
Okay, so Kamini, all he's calling for is the defense ministry to thoroughly investigate this matter and ensure that the military officers who perpetrated that activity yesterday will be identified and actually brought to book.
Oh, Chris, Judith here though, but what are authorities saying?
Yes, so I have since yesterday been engaging the municipal chief executive for the West Mampusi municipality, and he's been condemning the act because according to him, it also came to him as a surprise. In fact, yesterday, he was the first person to have gone to the rescue of Solomon because right after the incident happened, Solomon placed the call to him. And when he even got there, according to him, the military even asked if it's the MC and so what, and that they have orders from above to conduct that action that they took yesterday. So he has expressed disappointment in the way and manner the military went about their operations, even though they had indicated that they were doing so to clear the way for free movement of traffic. The regional minister, who is currently in a meeting out of town, has also vehemently condemned the incident and has indicated that he will ensure that the appropriate authorities take this matter up and the justice will be served on Solomon and other residents whose properties were destroyed.
Right, many thanks for your time. Chris, he's been joining us from the northern region where the issue has just happened. It happened just yesterday where there was an assault on one of our reporters, our correspondents in the northern region. We're going to stay on this particular subject because Media Foundation for West Africa has condemned the alleged assault on Media General's Northeast Regional Correspondent Solomon Kwame Kanalue, and during a coverage of the military exercise in the Northeast region. The foundation says attacks on journalists undermine press freedom and accountability. Speaking in an interview, the Director for Freedom of Expression and Digital Rights at the Media Foundation for West Africa, Dora Mauto, said the incident must be investigated and appropriate legal redress pursued.
The Media Foundation for West Africa condemns this inhumane act and very unfortunate for a country that is democratic, that believes in the rule of law, and to have security agents or officers of the security, the military for that matter, assault a journalist when the person is in a clearly identifiable attire as a journalist. I think it's very, very unfortunate and very, very condemnable. There's need to increasingly seek legal redress for some of these unfortunate incidents, because if it's just public condemnation and then it ends there, we've seen that in the past, we haven't really had much result. let's also go through the legal means, do litigation, and ensure that we get justice for abused journalists. Media general should not let this case be one of those others that have gone unredressed. I think the media organization should pursue this case to a logical conclusion and ensure that justice is served. To the military command, I would say this is an opportunity for them to let Ghanaians know that they don't approve unprofessionalism among its officers. And so they must take the necessary action to bring the said officers to book to serve as a deterrent to others.
You're still watching News Central right here on TV3. We're going for a very fast break. We'll be back with more. Do stay with us. Now, the Minister for Education, Harry Idrisu, has dismissed claims that the Gadambe language has been sidelined in an artificial intelligence-powered education program the ministry intends to roll out in March. Well, the minister came under criticism over the weekend from a group of Ga youth who accused him of pursuing policies they say are aimed at eroding Ga culture.
The Education Minister, Harry Idrisu, in the company of the Technical Director of the Ministry of Education, Professor George Odro, Member of Parliament for La Dadekotopon, Ritana Odolesowa, MP for Kankwe North, Teresa Ladi Awuni, and MP for Kankwe South, paid a courtesy call on the Ghana Traditional Council to engage traditional authorities of the Ghana state. The meeting follows reports suggesting the Education Ministry was preparing to roll out AI-based instructional tools in selected Ghanaian languages, reportedly including Akan, Ewe, and Dagbani. This report triggered widespread concern on social media, with some Gadangbe indigents accusing the minister of a deliberate attempt to sideline their language and render the dialect extinct. But Education Minister Harry Idrisu, addressing the Gamanche, Nitaki Tekochru II, the elders of the Traditional Council clarified that government has no intention of alienating the Gadangbe language. He explained that 12 Ghanaian languages, including Gadangbe, as well as a Ghanaian Sign Language, have been selected for consideration under the program.
Every society is its culture, and language is at the forefront of the definition of that culture. And therefore, it will be unthinkable for government to roll out any indigenous language policy and exclude the Ga language.
The minister further revealed that discussions have been held with Google to support the implementation of the program, which is expected to commence in March. He noted that the use of local languages, also known as L1 or Mother Tongue, has already been approved by the Ghana Education Service for instruction at the lower primary level. Among several concerns raised, Legal Counsel for the Ghana Traditional Council appealed to the minister to ensure that teachers specifically trained to teach the Ghana language in Accra are retained and adequately deployed.
One very important point which we raised in the issues we have stated so far has to do with a situation where there are numerous Ghana teachers who studied at Winneba, qualified, and have been posted outside Accra, whereas their services are actually needed in the capital city. The
Gamanche Nitaki Tekochru II also urged the minister to consider and implement recommendations presented by the Traditional Council to safeguard the language and culture of the Ghana people. Stakeholders say ensuring the inclusion of Gadangbe and other local languages in the AI program will not only preserve cultural identity, but also strengthen mother tongue learning at the foundational level of education. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, Minister for Roads and Highways Kwame Govins Abuja has disclosed that government has awarded 50 billion cedis worth of road contracts since assuming office a year ago. The minister said these contracts cut across the country and form part of the big push agenda by government. Speaking to TV3, the minister dismissed assertions that the NDC government is not spending.
The finance minister got the details, budgeted for it. We went to parliament, sought multi-year commitment, declared that we're going to use our oil and mineral revenue and allocated it in the budget, and said that by the year 2020, end of 2027, these first phase of big push project should be completed. In addition to the Dambai Bridge, which is a major crossing, and a Chiamanfo Bridge. This morning, when I get back to the ministry, I'll be signing the contract for the contractor to commence work on the Chiamanfo Bridge. It's about 3 kilometers. It will be the biggest and the longest bridge in our country. So far, we have awarded about 50 billion cedis worth of work, and then if you give me the opportunity, I'll...
across the country?
Yes, name them again. Those are the big ticket ones. And as I said, it touches every region. So, for instance, Ahafo region, we are doing the Tepa Mabang Goso. It was an abandoned project. President Mahama said we should novate to a big push. Today, they are asphalting by Kofi Job. Work is ongoing. That work is due to be completed in a few months' time. In Ashanti region, the Kumasi Outer Ring Road, the contractor moved to side. They are doing cycling. It's a greenfield project. It's not an existing road to create the opportunity to detour around Kumasi. Currently, if you are even going to, let's say, Tamale, you are forced to go through to Swame Interchange, and which is what the problem was. When this project is completed, it will remove that bottleneck. And also, he asked us to take on the stalled Swame Interchange project as part of Big Push. The contractors' outstanding certificate to be paid so that we can do that. In Bono region, the Sunyani Outer Ring Road, which he actually started and was abandoned for 8 years, we are back to do a complete loop around Sunyani, which is a very important project, also on site going. In Bono East, the Techiman and Konsia Wenchi Road, the Central region, the dualization of Winneba Cape Coast, Eastern region, the Chiamanfo Bridge I talked to you about, and Kwehu Tafo, and a number of projects going on there. Greater Accra, Dodo Afienya, and then Motorway, Central University, and a number of them. Northeast, the rehabilitation of the Bintri Napanduri Road, also ongoing now. Northern region, the construction of the third ring road around Tamale. OT region, the construction of the Dambai Bridge. By the way, contract have been executed. Contractor is mobilizing to site to do the Dambai Bridge. In the same vein, the Eastern Corridor, the OT section, the west section actually, which used to be Pasa towards OT Damanko, the contractor, China Jiangxi, is back on site. All those big gullies have been filled. Work is ongoing. You can send your camera to see for yourself. The Savannah, Winchi to Sola, Upper East, Navrongo, Tumu, Upper West, Tumu, Han, Laura, Volta region, Atimpoku Ho, Aflau, Western region, dualization of Cape Coast, Takrade, Northern, Northwest, construction of Dadie, so Akontombra. So, in effect, the principle behind the first phase of the Big Push is to interconnect the regions to the national capital using the trunk road. We are doing a lot more than the trunk roads currently, but this is the principle by which we arrived at the first phase of President Mahama's intervention.
Now, President Mahama is seeking the support of Jamaica's Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, ahead of plans to file a resolution at the United Nations on March 25, calling for the transatlantic slave trade to be declared the greatest crime against humanity. Delivering the request on behalf of the President, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, said President Mahama is counting on Jamaica's backing to push for the total justice and global accountability for the atrocities associated with slavery.
According to the Foreign Affairs Minister, the proposed resolution forms part of Ghana's broader advocacy for historical justice, reparations, and international recognition of the lasting impact of the transatlantic slave trade in Africa and the diaspora.
But President Mahama wants us to also seek your support. He will be filing a resolution at the UN on the 25th of March to have the UN declare the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity. We all must commit to that cause. Others received reparations. The Jews were, compensated after the Holocaust. The slave owners were compensated for losing the slaves when slavery was abolished. So there's absolutely no reason why we should accept those who are still in denial, who are distorting history, and who are refusing to compensate and to restitute.
Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness welcomed the initiative and reaffirmed Jamaica's commitment to advancing global conversations on slavery, reparatory justice, and the protection of the dignity of people of African descent.
There is collaboration and support from the region for this general movement for reparations. As it relates to civil, we're most pleased that you will partner with us in establishing a monitor. It is historically very significant era for us, and I think it would be a good symbolic gesture as it would be a material investment in the cultural asset that exists.
Now, the Ghana Law Society has dismissed claims of being aligned with the governing National Democratic Congress. President Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo made the remarks after a press conference was cut short following a lawsuit against the society.
Lawyer Yao Inimbwedu filed a lawsuit against the Ghana Law Society, the General Legal Counsel, and the Registrar of Companies, challenging the legality of the society's operations. He argues its activities breach statute and undermine regulation of professional bodies. The motion challenging its legality is expected to be heard on February 4, 2026. As a result, the Ghana Law Society on Monday, January 26, postponed its media briefing, but insists the injunction does not affect its activities.
Out of respect for the court and as officers of the court, we want to withhold our press statement or our comments to the press regarding the Ghana Law Society as established under law and our activities and our policies and programs for our members, our professional colleagues who abide the outcome. And if you look at some other processes that we've cited, there's supposed to be a motion or notice slated for hearing on the 4th of February.
Dafiamepo rejected suggestions that the group is made up of NDC lawyers, saying their breakaway from the Ghana Bar Association was due to its loss of relevance, not politics.
Is the Ghana Bar Association a group of MPP lawyers? Is that why they are worried? So we are not a group of NDC lawyers. We are a group of Ghanaian lawyers who have come to the bitter realization that the Ghana Bar Association has lost its luster and glamour, lost its purpose. You pay 1,200 every year, basic, as a member, every year, annual dues. You don't know how that is put to. Members have crisis and nobody comes to the aid as a group. If you see a lot of NDC lawyers in our membership, it is by freedom, voluntary association and orientation. They have the right to belong to any association of their choosing.
Lawyer Yao Inimbwedu is seeking to remove the Ghana Law Society from the Register of Professional Bodies and secure a perpetual injunction against its executive and members.
And let's do some interesting news now. And global YouTube sensation Darren Jackson Watkins Jr., popularly known as iShow Speed, dominated the digital airways yesterday. Here are excerpts of the Independence Square car show.
Arriving at the Black Star Square, the atmosphere was electrifying. Surrounded by a fleet of supercars and local talent, Speed performed his signature backflip under the Independence Arch, solidifying his presence in the heart of Accra. The visit also took a culinary turn as he was introduced to Kosua Nemeko, the popular street snack of boiled eggs and pepper prepared by the renowned Chef Abby. However, the highlight of the afternoon sparked debate online after Speed performed another backflip into a massive pan of jollof rice. While the stand was typical of his high-energy brand, it drew mixed reactions. Speed also moved to the Bukom Enclave to perform some more stunts.
And that's how we wrap up News Central right here on TV3. A pleasure coming to you this afternoon. My name is Judith Brown. Do stay tuned for the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.